Alright, David Harry here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up the Elgato 4K-X, which is a USB-C HDMI 2.1 capture device with an iPad Pro. In this instance, I'm using an iPad Pro M2, and I've also got a Sony PS5 connected to the iPad via the Elgato box, and that is what I will use for doing the actual game capture example. So what I'm going to do in a second, I'll just do a close-up of the 4K-X and just basically give you a quick overview as to what the ports are on it. Then what I will do is show you the Elgato Capture App on the iPad Pro. Like I say, this is the M2 that I'm using here. However, the actual installation and the app will look identical regardless of what type of iPad you put it on, as long as that iPad is compatible with the app. Now, after that point, what I'm going to do is do some gameplay from the PS5 running through the whole system as a capture onto the iPad. Now, that particular gameplay will be Warzone. I can't say that I'm any good at it, but what you will be able to see is just how good the actual capture quality is on this setup when I do the final game recording. Anyways, let me show you and start off with the close-up of the Elgato capture box here, which is the 4K-X. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is a quick run around the 4K-X interface here and just give you a very basic understanding of what's going on with this box. Now, hopefully I'm going to be able to get into focus with these things, but starting off on the front here, we've got an LED indicator. Now, that's just essentially going to let us know when we are connected to any kind of like compatible devices and stuff, and it will also give us indications as to when it's being used with the likes of OBS. Now, on this side here, we have got a 3.5mm jack input. Now, to be clear, this is a line level input. It is not a microphone input. However, I will be doing a video soon all about the compatibility of this port, what you can plug into it, and also how you can use microphones with it. So if you're interested in that type of thing, keep an eye on my channel. Now, moving around to the back, and the first thing we've got here is a HDMI input. Now, this is HDMI 2.1, and this HDMI 2.1 is what allows us to start passing through and to also record certain high frame rates and high resolutions as well. In fact, on the screen right now, what you will see is a key system off the Elgato site, and across that top line there, that will show you what frame rates and resolutions we can actually pass through the box. And then on the left hand side, running down the side, that will indicate what resolutions and what frame rates you can record whilst passing through those frame rates and resolutions on the top line. Now, to be clear, what we see here as far as HDR and SDR is concerned is something that is realistically only compatible with Windows. At the moment, there are a number of issues with Apple Silicon, which basically forces this 4K-X to be seen as a 5 gigabits per second device. So obviously, most of what we see on this screen here can't be done on Apple Silicon M1. And also, there are restrictions with the iPad as well. Basically, it doesn't do HDR recording. Now, moving to the center of the back of the 4K-X, and as we can see, that's a USB-C interface there. Now, this is actually a 10 gigabits per second interface, which is what allows us to record up to 4K 144 frames per second. However, that can only be done at the moment on PCs or Windows computers. Like I've just said, there are certain issues with Apple Silicon. I know for sure that it is not fully compatible with M1 Apple Silicon. However, I am still waiting on Elgato to give me more information about M2 and also M3. But for now, yes, this kind of only really works at 10 gigabits on Windows, unfortunately. Now, what we've got here is our HDMI output. So basically, all of the stuff that we just seen on the Elgato key there on the top line is what we can pass through out of this output whilst recording any of the stuff on the left hand side running down on that key. So once again, HDMI 2.1 video output. And just a quick shot here of the setup. Now, I appreciate that this isn't the best shot in the world. I just don't have enough space in order to get like a decent wide shot here. But as we can see, the PlayStation 5 is plugged into the 4KX, which in turn is sending the through signal to the monitor at the back, and is also plugged into the iPad Pro, where it is now ready to start recording the gameplay from the PS5. Okay, so here I am on the iPad, and the first thing that I'm going to do is go to the App Store to download the Elgato Capture App. So let me just launch the App Store here. I'm going to go to search, then I'm going to type in Elgato Capture. So E-L-G-A-T-O, Elgato, and then Capture. And then at some point it might actually start coming up. There we go. It's kind of prompted us here. Just going to tap onto there. And then what we need to download is this app here, which is the Elgato Capture App. So let me just click on that cloud icon. Now this will download really quickly. It is not a massive file or anything. And there we go. Okay, so let me just go back to the home page here, or the main screen. Right, so from here, what I'm going to do is start running through the initial setup for the Capture App. But of course, we just need to make sure that first of all, we have got our 4KX connected here to the USB-C input on the iPad, and of course we need to also make sure that our HDMI cables are connected in and out of the 4KX as well. Okay, so I'm just going to tap on Capture here. Now the first thing that it's going to do is just to kind of warn us that it needs access to various things. So obviously camera, microphone and photos, locations and stuff like that. Now the reason why is because it needs access to these things in order to work properly. So I'm just going to click continue. Then I'm going to allow the three things it's going to ask for here. So access to the camera, allow. Then access to the microphone, allow. And then access to your photos. Now when it says access to your photos, that's basically just so it's got access to the storage, so it can store files. So I'm going to allow that. Now at this point here, it's automatically come up and says I've got the Elgato 4KX connected as far as my video input source is concerned, and it has got it ticked here. Now if you have a different Elgato device connected which is compatible with the app, it too will show up here. However, if you are on something say like a USB-C hub or dock, I'm assuming if you've got multiple Elgato devices connected, you will get the option here to select the video input from whichever one you want to select. However, this is a very straightforward setup with just the one 4KX attached here to the USB-C, as we can see. So I'm just going to leave that selected there and tap on next. Now the next thing it's going to do here is ask us, where do we want our audio to come from? Do we want the audio to come from the iPad microphone or from the Elgato 4KX? Well, because I want to record game audio, I'm going to leave it on Elgato 4KX. Now we could put it on iPad microphone, and then that allows us to talk over the video. However, we can't mix and match both of them, so it's either or we have the option of none. So I'm going to put it back onto Elgato 4KX there, then tap on next. Now this is basically telling us that the setup is done. So let me just get into here. Now what I'm going to do is run through all these options here quickly so you can see exactly what's going on. So from the top left here, it says video. Now this is basically, the first part is exactly what we've just seen. So that's the video input. Once again, it has got the Elgato 4KX selected. And then underneath here, we have got format. Now, if I tap on there, we have got various frame rates and resolutions ranging from 720p 30 frames per second up to 4K 60 UHD. Now, I just want to point out one quick thing here. These frame rates are not the typical NTSC frame rates that you would get typically with most consoles such as the PS5 and the Xbox. Now, I'm not going to get into that any further than mentioning it here, because I will do a video about some stuff which I personally believe is missing from this app, and certain other things that Elgato seem to kind of bypass as far as, like, you know, their capture utilities are concerned and whatnot. But nonetheless, I'm going to leave this on 4K 60. then I'm just going to tap the screen to get rid of that box there. Now if I come across to where it says audio, once again this is going to give us our option for selecting the audio source. Again, I'm going to keep it on Elgato 4KX. However, what we've got here is pass to speakers. Now if I switch this on, I'll get close to the actual iPad, and what we should notice is the audio from the PS5 should come through the speakers on the iPad. So let me just get a bit closer. Okay, hopefully we hear the audio coming through off the PS5 there, which is going through the speakers now. I'm just going to switch that off. In fact, actually, let me just show you something else here. If I switch that over to the iPad microphone, if I now switch this back on, we are going to get feedback because the internal microphone on the iPad will be picking up audio, playing it back out of its own speakers, and then picking it back up again, which will create feedback. So let me just switch this over. One, as we can hear there, there's a delay going on, which is feedback. Okay, so that's those two options sorted. Now if I come up to the cog up here, there's going to be two really important options here, which I'm going to definitely recommend you change. However, the first thing that we see here is appearance. So if we tap on that, it's just going to give us the options for the light or the dark UI, or it's going to go to system, which in this instance is set to light. Me personally, I'm into the light one, so I'll leave it on light. Now the two things that I would definitely recommend you change from standard are going to be the storage locations for both the video recordings and the snapshots. Snapshots being just like still images. So at the moment, these are set to the photo library. Now the problem that I have with that is that the photo library is not easily accessible via, say, like file browsers and stuff when you've got external SSDs connected. So it's not that easy to save things from the photo library to an external SSD through, say, a third-party file app or something like that. However, if we designate the folder to where we know we can definitely see it through the file browser, we get easy access to all of the recordings. So I'm just going to tap on photo library there. Going to go to custom. Now what it is, I've actually already got something in here. So if I click on my iPad here, I've got a folder which says Elgato Captures, as we can see there. Now let's just pretend I don't have that folder. What you can do is just tap on new folder here and then give it a name for what you want, for where you want your captures to go to. In fact, let me just do something quickly. So let me just call this Elgato, and then I'm just going to call this Capture 2. I'm going to call it 2 because I've already got one already on the system. So I'm going to say like enter to that. So there's my new folder there. So I'm just going to tap on open. And as we can see right now, it's telling us that the video recordings are being sent directly to that folder. Like I've just said, that makes it super easy to get at any of those recordings if we want to offload them onto some external storage. Now also, as far as snapshots are concerned, which are basically just stills, we're going to do the same thing. So if I just tap on photo library here, hit custom, it'll actually remember the last thing that it was on there. So it's already remembered that folder. So just going to tap on open. As you can see, that's now all being set correctly to the folder that I want it to all go to. So I'm going to tap on done here. Now we've got two buttons here which says recordings and snapshots. Well, basically what these are just playback options. So let's pretend we've got some kind of like, you know, some recordings done here. If we tap on recordings, it'll take us to that destination, and then any files that are in here which are recordings, it will then allow us to play them back. So it's kind of like very convenient to be able to see your captures immediately playing back. Sorry, just a quick jump cut there. I've just had to go and answer the door. And then it's the exact same thing as far as snapshots are concerned. So if I tap on snapshots, same thing. If there are any stills in this folder, we can actually tap on them and then immediately preview them. So let me just go back here. Now we've got our record button here for our video, and then we've got our record button for stills. So basically recordings and snapshots. Then we've got a 60 FPS counter here, which is telling us what we are set to as far as the frame rate is concerned. Let me just try something here a second. If I go back up here, if I change that format to 720p 30, as we can see, it has now changed to 30 FPS. So that indeed does just indicate to us what frame rate we are recording at. In fact, let me just change that back to 4K UHD 60. And then what we've got here is our audio level indicator. And then here on this button, if we tap this, we go full screen for the preview here. And if I tap on the picture and then tap on this icon, it takes us back to the user interface. Okay, so that's everything we need to know and understand about the interface for the Elgato Capture program. So what I'm going to do right now is to tap on record there. So now what I'm going to do is to fast forward into Call of Duty and let me do some gameplay on Call of Duty to give ourselves an idea of just how good this actual recording system is.
Resurgence. Survive and your team can redeploy. Eliminate targets to bring them back faster. Mark a drop point for your squad
Lock the
and lead them in.
LZ. Stick together.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies. We picked up the trail of an HVT nearby. Locate and terminate the target. Enemies dropping into the AO. Be advised, we're in close proximity to a nest.
Hostile counter UAV overhead.
Enemy soldier incoming. Running out of time, soldier. Track down that nest.
Hostiles deploy the Mosquito.
Hostile target terminated. Mission done.
Hostile Mosquito is online.
Enemies dropping into the AO.
Hostile airstrike near your location.
Target down. Marking the rest of them.
Contract here.
Heads up, an enemy squad marked you as a bounty target.
Hostile cluster mine detected.
You got a loadout drop inbound.
Hostiles deploy the Mosquito.
HVT in your area. Hunt, track, and eliminate it.
Need mid-gun rounds.
Detecting an encrypted transmission. Prep for orders. Your squad mates redeploying. Well done. Decrypt the enemy signal by leading in enemy kills.
Hostile Mosquito is online.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Hostile Guardian has been deployed. Enemies deploy the counter UAV.
We're outside the top squads. Let's push harder to break in. Your squad mate's back on station. Good work.
Hostile counter UAV overhead.
Need mid-gun rounds.
Enemy soldier incoming. Time is running out, soldier. Track down that HVT. You got an S nearby. Proceed with caution. Enemy destroyed. Use your TAC map to hunt down the rest of them. You're losing ground. Move it.
Fire sale.
Confirmed, and we located the rest of them.
Man, fucking-tastic.
Head to the safe zone.
Hostiles deploy the Mosquito. Hostile Mosquito is online.
Heads up, target area is now compromised. Mission abort. Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies. Fire sale active. Buy station prices have been reduced. We've got 10 squads active in the field.
Hostile Guardian is active. Hostiles deploy the Mosquito. Hostile Mosquito is online.
Down to you, soldier. Stay sharp. Resurgence is about to end. Make it count. Gas is moving. You got reinforcements inbound. Your squad mate's back on station. Good work. Move to the safe zone. You got reinforcements inbound. Fire sales over. Adjusting prices.
Taking rounds. Incoming! Grenade! Move! They shot the piss out of me!
Hostile activity detected in the area. Track it down and neutralize it immediately. Access denied to the area. Abort mission. Resurgence has closed. No more second chances. Time for vengeance. You're redeploying. Supply crates are restocked. Advise you load up now. Your squad mate's redeploying. Well done. Gas is closing in. Remain. Solid work so far. They hit us hard that time.